Hey guys, welcome to 5,000 Miles, where we review and react to our favorite television shows and movies. My name is John. This is Brandy in the chair with me here. She's sleeping, and we're in Philadelphia.
And my name's Vince, and I'm 5,000 miles away on Maui.
And here on today's episode, we are going into the best scenes from Rick and Morty Season 8. We dove into all of these episodes at great length, so if you're interested in any of that, you can go back and see some longer form stuff. But here today, we're just going into the best scenes. Vince, you ready?
I'm ready to go.
All right, so we are going to go in chronological order. I'll let you go first. What do you got from episode 1?
Episode 1 was The Summer of All Fears. That's the one where they're in the Matrix. I think my favorite moment from that episode was probably the montage of Morty in jail. When we see him in jail, we see him getting out of jail, and we see him joining the fire department and all that stuff. And then he's like remembering his firefighter buddies and all that stuff. And then there's a moment where he snaps out of it, and Rick's just standing there, and he goes, "If you're remembering a bunch of stuff, you have to say it out loud." And it was just a really nice juxtaposition of this poignant moment that Morty is having, combined with Rick doing like a meta joke.
CJ. If you're remembering a bunch of stuff, you have to say it out loud.
I love so many moments in that episode, but that was one of the funniest ones to me.
Yeah, and there's some really cool music, I think, that plays along with it that makes you, that really is just engaging. But I'm telling you, episode 1, that opening scene where we don't necessarily know what's going on because Rick and Morty just drops us into this situation that we're trying to unravel. When we see Summer get out of the Matrix and come into the garage, right? And then start spouting off the fact that she got stuck in there for 17 years, and she's talking to Beth, and Beth's like, yeah, this is why I have bedtime wine, or this is why I drink, or whatever. That introduction, the way that we're figuring out what's up, and the reveal of what's up, and the fact that Beth's drinking, I fucking love that scene, man.
Rick put us in a simulated reality to teach us a lesson about taking his phone charger and not giving him back, and then he fell asleep and forgot about us for the Matrix equivalent of 17 years. I'm an emancipated adult. I demand sovereignty over my mind and future. Don't let him reset us.
This is why I have bedtime wine.
Yeah, because Rick and Morty has this tendency to like not hold the viewer's hand too much.
Yeah.
And the way that they just drop us right into that world, they don't really tell you anything about what's going on. And then that moment where they get out of the Matrix and Summer does that exposition dump, it's so funny. And it was the perfect way to start off that season.
And I would be remiss if I didn't bring up Matrix Morty's Got an Eye for a Deal, because that was one of my favorite laugh out loud moments from the entire season. So.
And steel plates.
Good stuff. Oh, look at that, Rick. They got a sale on rebar.
Oh, hell yeah. Buy 2 rebar, get 1 free bar. Matrix Morty's got an eye for a deal.
So yeah, like episode 2, Valkyrick, man, I love the whole fight sequence with Bird Person and Bird Daughter, and that whole freaking fight sequence that plays out, and having those 2 characters and being able to like get some more action with those characters that are kind of cool. I love that sequence, man. That was my favorite scene from episode 2.
It's been such a long time coming of seeing Bird Daughter reunited with Bird Person, and then getting to see them fight together, and seeing
really
Bird
cool.
Daughter fight the Gonflamites, who we know that she hates, and then also seeing Space Beth and Rick working together. I mean, that was so great. And seeing Bird Person and Rick in action together, it reminds me of Bird Person's big day, which, as we know, was at Blood Ridge on Flap's third moon.
Of course, yeah, Blood Ridge. And so that was a really cool scene. And then also, do you remember the tag in Valkyrick?
It had to do with Cisco.
Right, the whole Cisco thing, and the voiceover with Cisco, and how we're getting introduced to this character, and Beth's whole take on it.
How'd we get there?
With the credentials we got from Cisco.
So, in other words, if Cisco
has never not shown up.
Can I just ask, what does someone have to do to achieve the level of trust you place in this random man?
I trust plenty of people.
Name 2.
Easy, Bird Person, and Cisco.
And then we see him as this drug addict at the end, and why he didn't show up. Really cool payoff. Loved that.
Yeah, I thought that was really funny. I was glad that we got to see Cisco at the end.
For sure. So what do you got from episode 3?
From episode 3, that was the Rick, the Mort, and the Ugly.
Citadel,
I really
baby,
love,
Citadel.
I'm a sucker for montages, I guess, because I really love that opening montage where we see like the farmer Rick, and we see his day and like what it is, like a day in the life for him. And then there's a really cool scene where he's like driving by, and there's like this big giant like crashed Citadel ship in the background,
It's
and that's
really
a direct reference to
visually
The Force
pleasing.
Awakens. Yeah, so I really love seeing that. I also was a big fan of that scene at the end where all the clone Mortys are getting dropped off at their respective planets, and we see like the cow skull Morty goes to live with the giant alien cows, and then Gambler Morty goes and gets dropped off at like the casino planet, and
Yeah, it
then that
was really
casino
cool.
actually shows back up in episode 5, the Cryo Mort Rickver episode.
Yeah, that was really cool, really captivating stuff. And then, of course, our Morty goes back, and then we see a very similar ending to Rick Lantis mix-up, where our Rick and Morty come back in. They're completely unaware of what's gone on. They have no appreciation for what that fucking Morty has been through. They're totally ignorant. Morty wants to get his fidget spinner back, and then they just plop out. Really kind of a cool way to end that, yeah.
Yeah, really a direct reference to the Rick Lantis mix-up episode where we just see him pop back out at the end, and that was super funny to see that. It's like the scene where Morty's talking about getting that mermaid puss.
Yeah.
But this time it was his fidget spinner.
Yeah, no doubt. And we get, so again, like episode 2, Valkyrick, and then this one, we get another great fight sequence in episode 3 too, when they end up killing Big Rick. What did they call him? Big Rick? Like the KFC Rick.
Oh yeah,
that whole fight sequence is pretty epic as well. So you get a really epic fight sequence in episode 2 and episode 3. For sure. So yeah, Last Temptation of Jerry. I've got the spring break scene.
Wait, did we just live through a whole calendar year? Is Summer still at spring break?
Where you see Summer like all alone, kind of weird. Like that wasn't a great episode, but I thought they landed on something interesting in that scene. Did you dig that scene at all?
That was my favorite scene of the whole episode because it was a decent episode. It was kind of mid, not a fan favorite, but I really thought that was funny when it's like Summer has been at the spring break thing this whole time, and then we finally cut back to her, and there's some sort of like Lord of the Flies spring break encampment going on, and I just thought that was really funny to see that.
Yeah, something about they're wearing teeth or something like that. It was pretty cool, little scene there. So as far as moments, again, yeah, that was a kind of a cool moment. So yeah, going into
and she was
episode...
only saved because she had a second stomach just for alcohol. Thank goodness that she had that.
Right, which was fucking hilarious. What do you got from episode 5?
Episode 5, Cryomort or Rickver. My favorite scene of that was it was very subtle, but at the very end, there's that scene where Rick is looking at the picture that he took with his fake mom and dad at his
the parents that he kind of adopted, yeah.
celebration.
Yeah.
And it made me think about the fact that in this whole series, we've never really seen Rick's mom or Rick's dad. They've never mentioned anything about like Rick's relationship with his parents. And it was really nice to see Rick's character finally have some sort of like parental interaction.
Yeah, and how he would take it.
Yeah, and we can see that like Rick is always a very calloused and jaded individual, but it seemed like he made a real connection with those fake parents that he had. So it was fun to see that.
Yeah, it kind of indicates that he has an emotional vacancy there, and I ended up using that. Yeah, I ended up using that as the thumbnail for our reaction to that video. So I think you're right on point in picking that as a cool moment. I think it really was because it's unique to Rick and Morty. We get a little glimpse into Rick's inner monologue or inner thoughts there with the way that he connected to those people. So yeah, I got that. I'll agree with you. That's the best scene from that, or best moment from episode 5. So yeah, for episode 6, the Curicksous case of Bethjamin Button, I think it's hard to deny the two little Beths and the ancient Rick sequence in the garage.
Oh, you didn't want us! You just wanted to fuck off!
I didn't leave. My Beth died.
The way that plays out, as much as I may have pissed and moaned about it in a mild way in the reaction, that's a great moment, isn't it?
Yeah, I dubbed that guy 360 Rick because he was aged up to 360 years old.
Ancient
and
Rick!
I'm 360 Rick. But that moment where we see him talking about how they're like, you abandoned us, and he's like, I didn't abandon you. My Beth died.
Right.
You know, it's a really sad moment and a really emotional moment, and it was nice to see them sort of get a little resolution on that. Not just for adult Beth, but for young Beth as well, to see her processing those emotions as a young girl and kind of getting a little bit of resolution to that. Yeah, that was a great scene.
And for ancient Rick, or for Rick, C-137 to have to be aged that far forward to be able to finally get vulnerable and admit, like, I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you for who you are, and I'm proud of you for beating the shit out of me.
Proud.
Proud?
Proud of you for making me old and beating the shit out of me.
And turning me into fucking, that was cool too. So yeah, I'm 100% with that being the best moment from that episode. What do you got from episode 7?
All right, so for episode Ricker Than Fiction,
Yeah.
I think there's only one clear choice, and that is the prison fight / prison break scene with him and Tenenbaum.
100%.
Was that your favorite moment from that episode?
The way that the fight happens and the idea that Rick disliked Tenenbaum to begin with, but then he likes him and Tenenbaum turns out to be badass and he does all this cool stuff. It's a very, very, very satisfying animation, the way that they break out. And then that payoff of the place exploding and Rick going, that was awesome. This was awesome. So was that. Like, that whole thing was really cool.
Well, and the look on Rick's face when he's like, I'm here to break you out. And it's like, we got to start a fight. And then Tenenbaum, like, hits him and says something out loud. And it kind of dawns on Rick what he's doing. And he's like, oh, here we go. That look on Rick's face was, like, classic. It really made me enjoy that whole scene.
No doubt about it. So now we get into Nomortland, and I'm going to go first because I don't think we can, because it's such a good episode, maybe one of the best moments of the whole season, and that's the beard reveal.
Jerry! And there's 2 of you! Hi there, Paul Fleischman, CPA.
Hi, I'm Jerry.
It's a pleasure. Beth! Jerry's back! And another one! Come on in. Can I get you guys some coffee? I'm a tea guy myself. Earl Grey, little milk.
Dad?
Oh my God.
Jerry?
Hi, family.
What the fuck is going on?
Okay. The fucking fact that the
That's
5
so
o'clock
great.
shadow Jerry, we think that the Jerry that we've been hanging out with just has this 5 o'clock shadow. And then when we see that the whole family has 5 o'clock shadows, including, what's his name?
Paul Fleischman.
Including Paul
CPA.
Fleischman. That and the Matrix Morty has an eye for a deal are the 2 most laugh out loud, like belly laugh moments of the whole season. And there were many. What else you got from episode 8?
And as I said earlier, I'm a big fan of montages. I'm a sucker for a montage. That scene of the 2 Jerrys traveling the multiverse together, and it's got that cheesy Rusted Root song in the background. I think that was perfect.
Yeah,
that really set the tone for that entire episode.
Yeah, I love
and
that
also,
little sequence as well.
Anytime that you want to go from just a beginner to a pro, you need a montage.
Right. Even Rocky had a montage.
Yeah, and it's like so many things are happening at once, reminding everyone of what's going on. And then every shot shows a little improvement because to show it all would take too long.
Yeah, that's called a montage. Right.
Yeah.
Before we get off of Nomortland entirely, drop it in the comments if you know what we just referred to. But before we get away from Nomortland entirely, the final scene in that episode, I was pretty taken with the fact that we're unaware if Rick knows about these slices in the universe that Jerry's taken advantage of, and that they make sure that we know nothing goes on without Rick not knowing it.
What the fuck was that?
Nothing.
A guy like you might be good for you.
Kind of intimidates Jerry into not letting other Jerrys in, and Jerry goes from wanting to leave the coaster sunny side up to let people know it's friendly to flipping it over after his interaction with Rick. I just thought that really put an exclamation point on an already great episode.
Yeah, no, I thought that was a great moment because it's like we know that Rick knows, and also it made Jerry question about whether or not that reality is safe for other travelers and whether or not he himself wants to continue doing that sort of multiverse traveling. And so that one moment really stood out as like the icing on the cake for that whole episode.
But that brings us to episode 9, and it is your turn to let me know what you had from episode 9.
There wasn't a lot of things that stood out as like exceptional from this episode, but probably the scene that I enjoyed the most from Morty Daddy was the scene where Rick and the precogs are hanging out at the pool together and they're doing like the secret handshake that they didn't rehearse. Yeah. And also the way that Rick absolutely dominates Summer, where she's about to get into the pool and he tells her not to get into the pool.
Jello shot delivery. Can you grab him, Summer? This is why it's good to have someone out of the pool.
I hate these cog assholes.
Yeah.
Because they need somebody dry to answer the door just in case something happens.
Yeah.
And then he's eating the giant eclair with the precogs in the pool. Like, that whole scene was just so funny. There's something about it that just like tickled me.
Yeah, that was really funny. And then there's a scene where Morty and his dad are kind of walking through the wasteland or wherever they are, and there's a toilet plunging itself as kind of this like bizarre, weird, hard to put your finger on it sex show thing, and it really is just humorous. No matter how you look at it, it's just funny.
The toilet plunging itself was so weird, but it's it was. I love to see that. There was something very like unique about that.
Yeah.
That like for some reason that really made me laugh.
Me too. And then lastly, I guess I'll mention it. I don't know how you feel about this one, but the you got Morty and Morty Jr. actually in a sex robot graveyard, seeing Morty Jr.'s actual mom, knowing that her body still, or her remains are still there. And then they have this kind of
Gwendolyn.
Gwendolyn still kind of exists, and they have this bullshit conversation about how Morty's ranking her in terms of sex robots.
Hello, Mother. It's me, your baby boy. I wish I could have known you.
She was the finest I ever had. Well, top 3. Top 5, at least.
Oh, top 5, eh?
There's a lot more than 5, too. It's high praise. Your mom could really throw it back.
I just thought that was like a notable interaction from an old school character, couple of old school characters. So I don't know about best scenes of the episode or best scenes of the season, but it was a cool moment in that episode.
I felt that was a touching father and son moment. And even though there wasn't a lot of great moments from that episode, there's a ton of Easter eggs. So if you haven't seen the Easter egg short that we did, the top 10 Easter eggs from that video, definitely go check that out.
Yeah, for sure. So that brings us to episode 10, which is one of my all-time favorite Rick and Morty. It's an episode. It's an instant classic. I was really taken with it. So without just giving the whole goddamn thing another run, I'll try and zoom in, and I'll start off with just Memory Rick and Diane's embrace.
Yeah. I mean, what a touching moment that was.
It really was, actually, you know?
Not only did I like that embrace, but I would go as far as to say just the reveal alone that Memory Rick was still out there.
Yeah.
Just the reveal that it was him inside Jerry's brain, and the fact that he was still existing, and that we're finally going to tie up that loose knot that was hanging out there, that little loose end.
We get this version of you.
He's just a memory of me at my most passionate and heroic. He snuck out a bird person's brain and into mine.
I love that because, you know, it's like that's when you know you're getting into some deep canon shit.
Love it.
And as soon as I saw Memory Rick, I was like, oh yeah, dude, that was the one that was from Bird Person, and then he ended up in Rick's brain at the end, and then it's like, oh yeah, he got transferred into Jerry's head in that episode where they like shuffled their brains together, and I just loved seeing the reveal of Memory Rick. And then of course we have the reunion with Diane, and then I would say one of my favorite moments from that entire episode was probably the Mr. Poopy Butthole post-credit scene.
Ooh-wee, season 8, huh? I liked when Jerry was the Easter Bunny.
I mean, come on. It was definitely one of the best moments of the entire season.
One of the best moments of the entire season. The perfect end cap to that season as well, because we haven't seen Mr. Poopy Butthole since the very end of season 7, where if you watch the post-credit scene from the last episode of season 7, he steals a portal gun and he swaps places in another dimension where him and Amy are still together and like still living a happy life.
Yeah.
And they just let that go. They didn't comment on it all season, and it was very easy to forget about that scene. And then we get to see this scene where Amy has captured Mr. Poopy Butthole. She knows that he's from another universe, and now they're going to try to the scientists are going to try to figure out what's going on with that. And it was just really cool to see that that one throwaway joke, they came back to it, and now there's this whole other Mr. Poopy Butthole like B storyline going on in the background that presumably only takes place in the season finale post-credit scenes. I mean, what a great way to end the season. Come on.
It was amazing.
Also, were you shitting your pants when Beth snapped Space Beth's neck?
Yes! Stop fighting me! I can't! This is how we stay a family!
Yes.
If we're talking about just straight up holy shit moments,
Kaboom.
how about that moment? Because
Kaboom.
like there's no guarantee that the writers weren't going to kill Space Beth. I mean, not a lot of people have plot armor in this show, and so for a minute there, I was like really worried that they might actually kill Space Beth.
Yeah, that was a shocking moment for sure. And then lastly, let's just mention Mr. Stabby one more time. Seeing Mr. Stabby was fucking funny. Like, it was
Mr. Stabby, come on.
The baby wasn't a cake, and Mr. Stabby's canceled.
Yeah, Mr. Stabby's canceled now because he killed a baby.
He killed the baby,
presumably.
So anyway, that pretty much covers the best moments, according to 5,000 Miles, of Rick and Morty Season 8. Please let us know what you had. As if we missed any, or if you disagree or agree, please let us know in the comments. Either way, I hope you enjoyed a little synopsis of all the best moments from Season 8 Rick and Morty.
And so we're going to have more Rick and Morty content to come, so don't forget to like and subscribe. And until next time, that's the way the news goes.
Thanks a lot, guys. See you next one.